Hi Tribe. I decided to have my babies at home because I've worked in the hospitals as a registered nurse in labor and delivery and postpartum for almost 10 years now. And what I realized was that natural birthing is something that's not encouraged in this society, and I think one of the primary reasons it's not encouraged is because, well, two reasons. I think this society makes a hell of a lot of money with medicalizing something that is so natural. I don't know if medicalizing is a word, but you know what I mean. And the second reason is I feel like there's so much power that you gain and retain from trusting your body and empowering yourself to make choices for your body and your baby and your birthing experience. So I had 3 home births. I was very prudent to make sure that I was extremely healthy. I definitely don't recommend home births for anyone who has any type of medical condition, like diabetes or hypertension or things like that. For me, it felt like a type of primal initiation that was very important for me. It's hard to explain, but it just felt like the best thing to do was to have my babies in the comfort of my home. There's so many things that are against the natural flow of your body when you go into a hospital when you're having a baby. First of all, an OB is overkill, especially if you're a healthy woman. Midwives actually work a lot better for normal pregnancy, normal birthing experiences, because your body really does know exactly what she's doing, and it's so important for you to trust that. I mean, you didn't really have a say in how your body created your baby's heart or your baby's lungs or your baby's muscles or brain, but you trusted it. You trusted your body, or you trusted some source of divinity to create and mold your baby into this perfect little human spirit. So first you gotta trust. First you really have to trust yourself. You really have to trust your body. You gotta trust that your body was made for this, because it really is. I've seen countless hundreds of women giving birth, and it seems like the most natural thing in the world. The problem comes in when the society doesn't teach women or doesn't really encourage women to know their bodies enough to know that it can be done. Where most of the information has to do with fear, and you have to be afraid, and it's going to be so painful, and it's going to be like the worst pain in the world. Like, I feel like that's exaggerated. And I feel like a lot of times when women come into the hospital giving in labor, they're almost in a way playing out the role of, oh, this is supposed to be so dramatic and so painful. And I'm not saying that it's not intense. It is definitely an intense feeling, and mothers, y'all already know that. But it almost feels like they're almost acting out the program of what this is supposed to look like. And so I had the same midwife for all 3 of my babies. I went to all my prenatal appointments. My blood pressure was always fine. I was slightly anemic, but I've been anemic since I was 13. I noticed that I became more anemic in each one of my pregnancies, and what I did for that was chlorophyll, liquid chlorophyll. You can get it at health food stores. And I took B12 tablets because at that time I wasn't eating a lot of meat at all. I still really don't. And I think that's all. I mean, and the prenatal vitamins. I did that. And I ate a lot, and I ate healthy. I tried to eat healthy. I mean, honestly, like when you're pregnant, sometimes you have these crazy cravings, and you just need to follow your body. If your body is feeling like it needs some chicken or it needs some pepperoni pizza, go for it. I definitely had interesting cravings, and I always fulfilled them, because why not? I mean, it's okay. I mean, it really is okay. It's not that serious. Just make sure you're eating your green stuff. Green leafy vegetables, all that stuff. So anyway, so my first daughter was born at home, and the labor itself was about 6.5 hours. And my mother was there, my doula was there, my husband was there, my 10-year-old son was there, and my husband's daughter from a previous marriage, she was about 14 or 15, something like that, so she was there. Recommend is preparation. You have to know what to expect. You have to know that it's going to be intense. You have to know that sometimes breathing deeply don't work. But what did work for me was showers, soft music, candles, incense. I had my altar ready. And the altar is actually something that I recommend. As soon as you find out that you're pregnant, you should have an altar to a goddess. Whatever religion you're part of, your God shouldn't be offended by something as natural and feminine as having an altar to a goddess. I personally chose Yemoya because she's one of my favorite African goddesses. And so I have my altar as soon as I find out that I'm pregnant, and I have all of her colors, which her colors happen to be blue and white. She's an ocean goddess. She's the protector of the pregnant mother. She protects babies and children, fetuses. And I wrote her a letter, basically in reverence and in gratitude and in honoring her, and being grateful that I know that she was there with me from the beginning of the pregnancy. And every day you should go to your altar. You should pray to your goddess. I just wrote it down because it was easy for me to just write down exactly what it was that I wanted to tell her. And I have my candles. I light my candles. I light my incense. I have my crystals. I have beach sand. I have whatever items your goddess resonates towards. You want to make it beautiful. It has to be clean, and you have to put offerings. At least for mine. I mean, not every goddess requires all the things that I did, but just as an example. And so every day I go to the altar and I pray, and I'm telling her exactly what kind of birth I want. I want it to be smooth. I want it to be safe. I want it to be ecstatic. I want to be surrounded by loved ones. I want no complications. I want safe passage for myself and for my child. So when the labor actually started for me, the first one, it was intense, but because I was determined to go through it, I realized that I could do it. And one thing that women have to remember, when you're in labor, you feel like the contractions are going to go on forever. They're not. There's a finite number of contractions. And say that finite number for you is 50 or 100. Don't think that it's going to go on forever, because you do get that feeling like, oh my God, I'm never going to get out of this. But no, every time that you have one contraction, know that you're one step closer to the finite number of contractions you're going to have. I like to call them waves. I did a lot of meditation and prenatal yoga. And doing my prenatal yoga, I would, at the end of the yoga session, I would do a guided type of meditation where I would connect with the baby, speak to the baby, imagine what my labor was going to be like. I imagined my cervix opening gently like a lotus flower. And so these meditations, the more you do them, which you should be doing them as soon as you find out that you're pregnant, the more you do them, the more your brain starts getting used to the images and the ideas that you're implanting in your subconscious mind. You have new brain cells starting to form, so that when the labor actually comes and you start breathing and you start imagining your cervix opening gently like a lotus flower during each wave, during each contraction, your body is not freaking out, because it's not like, what the fuck is going on? It already knows what to expect, because you prepared your body. You prepared by reading up on natural birthing. You prepared by seeing videos on natural birthing. You have prepared yourself mentally and emotionally. You have the people around you that love you and that are going to support you. You definitely don't want any bright lights. Bright lights, like they do in the hospital, actually goes against the natural flow of your body. So whenever there is a mammal that's giving birth, they go into a place that's dark, secluded, and warm. How we give birth now is we go into the hospitals and it's cold and very bright and not secluded at all. There's a whole lot of strangers. Okay, you don't really know the nurses. You know the doctors, but you don't know all the other people that are around. So your mind is automatically going to think this is not a safe place to have birth. Not all the time, but I have seen it happen, because it goes against our nature of our mammalian nature of going into dark, seclusion, and warmth. So you have to make sure that your environment is warm, which I did. I made sure that there was very dim lighting. Candles was basically most of my lighting was candles. And I had ocean wave sounds, because that reminds me of Yemoya, my goddess. It reminds me, it calms me. I had lavender oil burning, because lavender is something that calms you. Lavender oil goes into your limbic system and just automatically relaxes all of your muscles. You need to do a lot of things that are going to help you to relax during the labor. There was a lot of massaging going on. There was a lot of showers. I was slow dancing, sipping on water, and sipping on things that's going to keep you hydrated, like a type of Gatorade or any kind of like electrolytes, like coconut water. That's good. Be afraid to feel. Don't be afraid to feel. Like, I didn't take any medications at all, and the reason why I didn't, well, first of all, because I was at home and I couldn't have an epidural. But I do notice that in the hospitals, those medications are so strong that they give the mothers, that they take away your memory. They take away the memory of your birthing experience. Those contractions start coming, you have to not be afraid to feel it. When you resist it, that's when it starts hurting. It hurts when you resist. Don't scrunch up your hands. Don't squeeze up your body. Don't tense your muscles. You have to do the opposite of that in order to feel the full force of the wave, and also so that the wave can do its job. The more you tense up, the less the contraction is going to be able to open your body up so that you can push this child out. Relax. You have to try your hardest to relax, breathe, massages, comforting words, encourage people around you truly care about you and are encouraging you through this process. Gosh, I just remember feeling like the goddess was literally in my body, and I can feel her in my veins, and I can feel the power of creation inside of me. I can feel my muscles and my bones shifting, and I really literally felt like there was a universe expanding in my womb. And it's such a beautiful experience if you're not afraid to feel, if you're not afraid of the experience. That's so vital for you not to be afraid, to come into the experience with a completely open heart, with a completely open mind, and to do what it is that you need to do to prepare yourself, and to be comfortable with the idea, and to talk to other women who've done it before, and try not to engage those women who have fear-based mentality regarding giving birth, or women who say, "Oh no, that's crazy. Like, what if something happens?" If there's an emergency, if there's a real, true emergency that happens in your labor, your midwife is going to be able to recognize it, and if it's necessary, they will take you to the hospital. But most of the time, like I said, if you're a healthy woman and you're prepared, there is nothing to fear. Your body knows exactly what it's doing. You don't have to go to a doctor to learn how to have sex. There's things that your body just knows how to do, and giving birth is definitely one of these things. The end of it, the contractions started getting closer and closer together, and by the time I was maybe 3 minutes, when they were 3 minutes apart, I started making these sounds, these very primal sounds, so be prepared for that. I kind of felt like a tiger, and you cannot be afraid to make sounds. And I didn't scream. I didn't really feel like I had a need to scream during the labor at all, because the sounds that were coming out of me, I let them come out naturally. I wasn't afraid of them. I wasn't afraid of, oh my God, what are people gonna think at me making these sounds? Fuck all that. Like, you're in labor. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do. Kind of squatting a little bit, and my doula, she was like, I think it's time to go into the tub. We had a blue water-filled tub. The water was nice and warm, so I went into the tub, and oh my God, the feel of the warm water in my body is so relaxing. It felt so good. I got into the water. A few more contractions came and went. I was letting the sounds come out. I was feeling my body. I was feeling the goddess inside of me. I was literally feeling the goddess and knowing that she is in my veins right now, and she is making this happen, and she is slowly and gently encouraging the baby to come down the birth canal. And gosh, it might have been maybe 5 to 10 minutes after I got into the pool, I felt the baby coming down lower and lower, and my husband was right there. He got into the pool with me, and when I felt the baby's head come out, it was amazing. This is something that you're just gonna have to experience. And he was like, I see the head, I see the head. And then the next push came, and then she came out completely, and her eyes were like wide open, and she slid into my husband's hands, and then I held her. We both held her, and we just looked at her. She was just so beautiful, wide open eyes. Like, I swear, she comes from another universe. And it was, oh God, it was beautiful, and we cried, and I held my baby, and the midwife wasn't even there yet. And I just put her to my chest, and then my mother was there, my doula was there, and everybody was there just happy for me, and smiling, and like, yes, like we did it. Like, we did it ourselves, and we can trust something greater. We can trust something divine in us that will guide us in doing what it is that we know that we can do as women. It was beautiful. So then eventually the midwife came, and I let the placenta came out pretty easy, maybe 10 minutes later, and it's important not to cut the umbilical cord until it stops pulsating, because when it's pulsating, all the blood that's in the placenta is still going into the baby, and it's so important to not cut the cord immediately, because it helps the baby it decreases the chances of the baby getting jaundice, because the baby gets a lot more red blood cells the longer you leave the baby connected to the placenta. There's actually some women who leave the baby connected to placenta for hours. It's pretty amazing. It's called a lotus birth. I didn't do that. I cut I cut the cord, or actually my husband and my midwife actually cut the cord like after it stopped pulsating. So I felt good about that. And I just put the baby to my breast, and she started nursing immediately. She was just so alert and beautiful. My second birth was just about the same midwife. The labor was, I think that one was maybe about 5 hours. Same environment, same goddess. The third one was the same thing. As soon as I found out that I'm pregnant, I have an altar to Yemuya, and yeah, that was I think babies feel a lot more comfortable when they are immediately held by their mothers or their primary caregivers immediately after they're born. One thing that I don't like about the hospital births is that babies, a lot of times, they're taken away from the mother immediately. They cut the cord immediately, and then they bring the baby to a warmer, and then there they stimulate the baby and clean the baby up and this and that. But I'm such a strong advocate of skin to skin, because your baby just came from inside of you, like extremely warm place, and the best place for that baby to be is on your skin, so that the baby feels safe, the baby feels secure, the baby is in a familiar space, in a familiar energy, in the familiar aura. And you keep the baby's temperature stable when you do skin to skin. And yeah, it was some beautiful experiences. I felt empowered. I felt powerful. Like there was nothing that I couldn't do in my life because of these experiences that I had decided that I was going to go through. It's definitely a choice that you have to make yourself. You can't let anybody else convince you to do this. If it's not in your heart to do it, then don't. If you feel safer in the hospital, do that. You can have beautiful hospital births too. You can have doulas at in your labor and delivery room. It can still be beautiful. But I'm personally an advocate for the most natural way of giving birth, because I feel like the environment is more loving, the environment is more conducive, the environment is warm, it's more welcoming to the baby than in the bright lights, the strangers, the coolness of the hospital, the coldness of the hospital, really, because sometimes it's freezing in there. So it's empowering. So yeah, I think that's all that I really wanted